Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're having a good evening. Tonight I gotta show you this. Tonight's video is going to be on volunteer plants. Now, if you're a beginning gardener, this is your first year gardening, or maybe even your second year gardening, you might not have got to experience a volunteer plant yet. So we're going to go over that a little bit. We're going to talk about heirloom volunteer plants. We're going to talk about hybrid volunteer plants, and we're going to talk a little bit about seed dormancy, just a little bit on here, and because it happens a lot. And so if you compost and you throw garden scraps in there, you're probably definitely going to have a volunteer. So what a volunteer is the definition is any plant that grows in your garden that you didn't plant yourself. Okay, so I've got an example right here, and this is it's a little bit crazy, but what happens is you will grow a tomato or whatever, and say the seed gets on the ground. When you till your garden in the fall, you basically have just planted that seed. So I haven't gardened, like I say, in about 4 years. Every once in a while I'd come out here and put something in. But what happened was I tilled this spot right here. I put in some heirloom sweet corn because I'm wanting to save the seed off of it. And I get this thing and it comes up. I'm not exactly for sure what it is. So I let it grow. And the thing about volunteers are, you can let them grow. You don't have to pull them. I'll give you an example. I've planted 2 different kinds of pumpkins, and they're both heirloom. Now, if I'd only planted one kind and I got a volunteer pumpkin plant next year, I would, if it didn't impede anything, didn't hurt any of my other garden, I'd keep it, because it's just like you bought a seed and you planted it. Now, if you've got different varieties and there's a chance they cross-pollinated, what you have to watch out for is that will not grow to the same thing that you planted the year before, okay? Because if it's cross-pollinated, you won't get the same results. Same way with a hybrid. A hybrid, what they have done is they've taken 2 different plants from the same family and crossbred them. So they usually do this for disease resistance. They do it a lot in tomatoes. They do it for bigger fruits, more yield. They're just taking the best traits from 2 different plants and they're putting it together. But when you plant a seed from that, yes, it will grow. You might not get what you planted the year before though. So you want to be careful of that. So now, let's get into this. What I have here is I planted this sweet corn, and I didn't put in a whole lot. And, like I say, I'm just going to save the seed off of it. But then, here come these 2 or maybe 3 cucumber plants. Well, this thing got huge. I mean, it come all the way over here where my okra is. It's all around. It's just... And so I let it grow, and then here's the crazy thing. And I'm going to pull these off of here because I ain't going to save them. I'll tell you why here in a minute. This is a little bitty one, and you can kind of see that fine white hair on it. Okay, now that doesn't look like any cucumber I have ever grown. So let me show you a bigger one. I got one here. And you can still kind of feel a little bit of that fine hair on there. But that looks more like a melon than a cucumber. Now, I had one over here. Is that it? No. Where was it? Okay, it's right here. Let me pull this one. Now, this definitely doesn't look like a cucumber. Okay, and so you might be saying to yourself, well, why is this guy saying that's a cucumber? Because I cut one apart and I tried it. It smells like a cucumber. It tastes disgusting. It was horrible. I love cucumbers, and this thing was bitter. I spit it out as soon as I put it in my mouth. I couldn't get it out fast enough. It was disgusting. So that leads to another question. Are volunteer plants safe to eat? You can look up on the internet. You can get a lot of different answers. What myself, if it's an heirloom and I've planted all heirloom and something was to come up volunteer, I would eat it. I'm not telling anybody else to eat it, but I would eat it. Like them cucumbers down there, no. So there might be a danger of something toxic. So I am not going to tell anybody to eat something from a volunteer plant. Now, seed dormancy. How did this thing get here? Like I say, I haven't grown a garden in 4 years. Well, somewhere along the lines, I don't know if I grew a cucumber over here next to a melon and they cross-pollinated, and now this is what I've got. And when I tilled my garden in the fall, or you know, usually I would plant a green manure or something like that, I don't know. But when I tilled it for this sweet corn, I think I brought it up enough that it grew. So a seed can stay in the ground for years, dormant, and then it will still grow. So like I say, don't be alarmed if this is your first year growing a garden, and then the next year you've got a green bean, you know, in the middle of your pumpkin patch. It will happen, you know. I rotate my garden around, so yeah, all of a sudden I got cucumbers over here where my okra's at. So anyway, that's the video. I hope it helped. I hope it, you know, kind of gave you a little bit to think about. And you know, it was just really crazy to see that. So anyway, hey, I'll talk to you guys later. You guys have a good night.